Be honest. How much of your day do you spend worrying about things you literally can't control? The traffic on the I-5, the Instagram algorithm, what people think of you when you walk out of the room? In our modern lives, we are constantly struggling with anxiety and stress. It feels like the default setting, doesn't it? But what if I told you there's a philosophy that doesn't just help you cope, but helps you become undefeatable? Picture this. It's 300 BC. A man named Zeno lost his entire fortune in an instant and realized something that changed history. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. To truly understand the philosophy of Stoicism, we have to look at where it all started. In the city of Cyprus, back in 300 BC, there lived a very wealthy trader called Zeno of Citium. Think of him as the shipping magnate of his day. But while on a voyage from Phoenicia to Piraeus, his boat sank, along with all of his cargo. Because of that single event, an event entirely out of his control, this very wealthy man suddenly became poor in an instant. Now imagine you were Zeno. How would you react to your entire life's work getting flushed down the drain by the sheer force of nature? What is the proper reaction for building mental resilience? Would you be angry? Sad? Would you scream at the sky and feel life has cheated you? For most of us, these would all be normal reactions, but not for Zeno, the father of this ancient practice. One small change lasts in eternity, and one small reframing of your mindset and perspective can cascade into larger changes down the line. The core of this philosophy is the definition of acceptance and indifference. After reading the works of Socrates and other great minds, Zeno created the foundations of Stoic philosophy. According to him, although we don't have much control over what happens to us, we do have control of how it affects us. And we must use this emotional control to great effect. Rather than crying over spilled milk, or in this case, drowned goods, Zeno focused on maintaining his composure. Today, when beginners ask what Stoicism quotes often mislead them into thinking, they assume it refers to people who cannot be broken or emotionless robots. But the original idea wasn't about suppressing feelings. Rather than just a way to describe people who are unemotional, understanding Stoicism provides a way to view, describe, and comprehend the world. It was a way of life, and that guide to happiness has lasted for centuries. Stoic practices can be applied to situations today the same way they were applied thousands of years ago. It allows us to process these negative emotions and turn them into thoughts that give us a unique perspective. Perspective is everything. Since the Stoics taught philosophy in public places, everyone, from slave to emperor, could learn how to be a Stoic. And they did. Some of the world's most notable figures include Epictetus, whose name translates to acquired, as he was once a slave, Seneca the Younger, a renowned statesman, and Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and one of the most powerful men to have ever lived. When we read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations quotes, we aren't just reading history, we are seeing the internal battle of a man fighting to remain good in a violent world. The early Stoics practiced what they preached, fighting inequality and inventing the word cosmopolitan, which literally means citizen of the world. When we hear that word now, we think of diverse cities like New York, Toronto, or London. This unity is what Stoic beliefs preached. Even when it wasn't popular, women were allowed to learn and become philosophers themselves. So why do so many people adopt modern Stoicism today? In a world full of unexpected turns, our emotions can get in the way. We often find ourselves scrolling, looking for motivational quotes for success in life, hoping for a spark. But in reality, we don't really get sad because bad things happen. We get sad because unexpected bad things happen. Rain is a good thing. It waters plants and cools the earth. But when a dark cloud catches you without an umbrella on a Tuesday morning, it sucks. So why don't we cry when it rains? Because although it's annoying, we've learned to expect it. We can't control the weather. The rain passes and the light returns. Stoic wisdom teaches us to handle life the same way. Expect that everything bad that can happen will happen. Picture the worst outcome and be content knowing it could happen. This is the foundation of the ultimate Stoic quote collection, words designed not to comfort you, but to prepare you. One powerful Stoic exercise is voluntary discomfort, sleeping on the floor, taking cold showers, or eating only potatoes for a few days. This helps you understand that no matter how hard it gets, you'll still survive. By withstanding uncomfortable situations, we prepare our mental state for future misfortunes. Current state of the world, where advertisements are shoved down our throats, we're made to believe that if we don't have the next best thing, look a certain way, or make a certain amount of money, we will never be happy. This message on finding inner peace is more important now than ever. We grow up being taught things at home, school, and by society, but do we need to internalize all of this? If we do, we set unrealistic expectations, leaving us disappointed. That's no way to live. We should focus on self-improvement for ourselves. Attaching hope to external things almost always leads to disappointment. We try to fill that emptiness with fancy cars, houses, or status. But Stoic teachings reveal that if you approach life this way, you place your happiness in the hands of external forces that can fail. Cars break down, natural disasters happen, divorce rates climb. Even free things come at a cost, the cost of space, both physical and mental. As Seneca wrote, learning to live with less will create space in your life for the things that truly matter to you. We must place our happiness on our intrinsic value, not on what we acquire. We must keep a cool head, regardless of what life throws at us. That brings us to the dichotomy of control, the most important principle in this philosophy. It demands a level of discipline similar to the principles of the art of war. You must know your terrain, and in this case, the terrain is your own mind. We must learn to separate what we control from what we cannot. Making YouTube videos is easier than being a Roman emperor, but still challenging. You form an idea, script it, edit it. Everything up to the point you click upload is up to you. But once you click that button, the power shifts to the algorithm. Still, people judge their success by views and subscribers, metrics beyond their control. Daily Stoicism teaches that you should judge success based on your effort, not the outcome. Trust the process. Think about a person working hard for a promotion. He hands in his report, but his boss doesn't give him the promotion. He goes home thinking he sucks at his job. He doesn't consider that the boss might have been angry or the company was losing money. He doesn't know the reason, but he's upset. If he simply placed his value on the quality of his work, he could have been much happier. With the right mental clarity, his goal wasn't diminished, just postponed. This reframing is crucial. A true practitioner isn't happy because of financial gain, but is comforted by the fact that they can live a comfortable life without all the things money can buy. These are the 4 virtues of Stoicism: wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice. These concepts generate the most life-changing quotes because they cut through the noise of daily life. Wisdom is separating the internal from the external. As Viktor Frankl said, between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. Courage, 2 words: persist and resist. Temperance, or moderation, is doing more with less. While Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk fight for the top of the Forbes list, believers in this philosophy think wealth is simply having what is essential and then having what is enough. This is the most important justice. No one should do harm to another because we were born for each other, to do good to one another. Nelson Mandela is a prime example of Stoic leadership. He fought against apartheid, was imprisoned for 27 years, and when released, became president. People thought he would punish his oppressors, but he didn't. He had read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations in prison. Instead of revenge, Mandela urged his people to relax and rebuild. He knew the past was beyond control. The only thing they could do was move forward. This is the way of the philosopher. In modern medicine, these ancient teachings are at the core of therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy, REBT, and logotherapy. They help patients identify negative thoughts and replace them with logic. Even in the darkest situations, we can find purpose. It's easier said than done, of course. It's a process. We have to rewire the way we think. But by redirecting our definition of value to the things we can control, we stop fixating on the things we can't, and we lead a much happier life. Stoicism helps us steer through storms into calmer waters. And if our ship sinks, we can take peace in the fact that we lived a good life. Because remember, everything has an end. What need is there to weep over parts of life when the whole of it calls for tears? Now, there is one thing you can control right now, hitting that like button. It's a small act of voluntary discomfort that takes less than a second but helps us defeat the algorithm. So, exercise your free will, subscribe, and ring the bell to join the community. Stay stoic, and see you in the next one.